Hello again, and welcome to another tutorial. And this time I will make an update version of the video I made in 2014 about a loose front in the AF-s Nikkor 24 to 70 mm, and 2.8 is a G lens with the ED coating. And is the common loose screws in the front here. I will show you how you actually can get into and tighten again. It's not a big deal, so let's jump into it. So it should be quite easy to do. I mean, there's not so much wrong with this lens. But if I set it to 24 mm here and see what's actually, it's not loose, but it could be better. So and I want to show you how you actually get into the 3 screws up front here. You do not need to take off the front lens screw. The only thing we need to go in from the back and take of course the mount, the back, first the back lens group is with the 5th lens group off, the mount, I don't know actually what it's called, but this ring is part of the mount, and the zoom ring and the outer tube here, and then take off the focus ring itself, and then the front hood, as it's called in the repair manual. You can actually get the repair manual at on the internet quite easy. I will show it in the links in the comment box. So, but let's get into it. First things to do is to take off the rubber grip for the zoom and the focus. So let's do it, because there are a small brush for the zoom that need to be taken out. And of course I have been into this lens before, because it's assembled of 3 different lenses, so it's working quite good. See, the zoom ring has a slope on one end, which you can see, probably you can see here, and it's straight cut here, so the slope has to go towards the camera. It's the same for the focusing ring. It also have a slope here, which you probably can see now. So for that, those are a bit old, so they and they get some kind of sticky when they get old. For those. And under the zoom ring there is a brush, and it's the same with the M&A. It will say the manual focus ring. There's also one, and we need to take them out first. So I just begin with the focusing ring, and as you can see here, there is a small brush that is connected for the focus ring to the circuit board in here that I will show you sooner. Now this screw has to come out, but before we do so, use a pointy sharp tool or so to set a mark on the focus ring itself, and on the little piece of metal here, just so you know where things sits correct. And of course I use a JIS crosshead screwdriver, which should be the only one you use. It could be a JIS 0 or JIS 00. But in this case I will use the 0 a lot, and it fits okay in here. Sometimes it can be a little too big, but it's okay for now. And take care of the screw. It's tiny. And then with a tweezer, gently, very gently lift out so you do not bend the small legs on here. And just close the lid here, kind of. Then the zoom brush. See, it's working pretty good with the dentist tool. This is a spade side. So as you can see here, and the again, it's very important you set a mark on the brush here and on the zoom ring itself, because they have a starting point and the end point over here, which need to sit correct. So take care of that. And off with that. Because the brush can actually move a little to be adjusted correct, as you probably can see here, in this gap. And then lift it out. And off with the screw. Now, that was it, part of it. So, and now the actual work begin. So, loosen the contact back here for the connection to the camera. And there are two small screws, countersunk screws, that need to be taken out. Tiny. And the other one. And then the fifth lens group, which is the back lens group here, need to be taken out. And it's held in place by 3 screws. And the actual ring here around is made of plastic, so take care of it when you screw it in. So it's a bigger screw, so should be easy. The some of the screws here is a bit too small because it has been used a lot, and probably the other persons have get it repaired, and the holes in that way getting bigger. Then you can use a bigger screw. The common screw is 1.4 millimeter, and the bigger screw, it will be 1.7 millimeter. So, and then I can just take out the lens element. So, and as you can see, it's in a kind of plastic it sits in. There's no need to do anything about it, because yeah, it's so. When you put it on a table, put it with the most back surface on the desk, Now here you can see the contact, which you need to take some care of. So you simply move it that way and it's loose. Because if you take off the mount too hard, you can damage the flexible cable. So be aware of that. Now, the mount itself is held in place by 4 screws, and in this case it's actually 4 different screws, different lengths, because the length has been dropped, and there were some screws and the thread that actually was damaged. If it's a new lens and the screws sit very tight, you should use some nail polish remover, especially the one with acetone, or you could just use pure acetone, and you would just add a little with a cotton bud or Q-tip, and just add a few drops on each screw head to loosen the, soften the thread lock, which could be very hard to unscrew. In this case, it's not the problem. So just loosen the screws, and therefore it's very important you use a JIS and not Phillips screw. I mean PH0 or 00. So it's a bit longer. I just use what I could find in my spare screw box. This is a tiny one, smaller, but still it works pretty good. And the last one. Now have a finger down here when you hold it, and have a good grip here, so it's more safe when working. So, and now the screws is out. And then lift off the mount itself. Take care of the aperture pin, which is here, as you probably can see here. Don't bend it too much, so be gently when take out this the mount, and also the rubber ring around here should be, take some care. But you can just loosen it with a screwdriver here and on the other side. The next thing is there are some spacers, washers, whatever name they have, which is used for the back focusing adjustment. And in this case there are more than, in this case is actually 4 of those. There's a guide pin here, and when take it out, all the washers, those have been bent, and but it doesn't really matter. Now the guide pin, which is, oh come on little fellow, sit there. The guide pin is, I just set a small mark here so it's easy when showing people. But all the washers has to sit, of course, at this in the same place. So, but here you can see, maybe there are only 3 in your lens, maybe there are 2 or even more. 3, 5 or so, but they're different thickness and different material. I don't know why, but yeah, the repair manual does not tell anything about the different material. So, but as long as it works, it's okay fine. Now, the next thing is there are 5 screws around here, and as you can see, it looks like there is more screws, but the ring here that actually hold the mount is connected to the lens body with 5 screws. One there, 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 and the last one is over here. The 4 other screws is holding the focusing, the zoom tube in place, which I will show you sooner when we continue into the lens. And just to be sure how this ring will sit, or get it more easy to show, there's a pin here, this pin here, or you could actually use the dot, the white dot, and it should be in line with the distance window, and all to the very front of the lens, but there is another white dot. So just set a mark here so you know where it should sit. So now it's much easier to actually figure out if you're not familiar with working with those different lenses. Now all those screws are the same length and dimension, so there shouldn't be any problem. So, and that's and this one over here. And the last one up here. So it is. And here we are. Now it's possible to take off the ring. Nothing really special. This is how it looks. Now it's actually possible to take off the focusing, the zoom ring itself, but it's not possible yet. You can still move the zoom here, because there is a zoom coupling key between the zoom ring itself and the inner zoom tube. So this key has to come out, and it can only sit one way. So by loosen it, so, and there's 2 countersunk screws. Take care of when you loosen the last screw to not drop the key in, and have a good grip here. And then it should be easy to unscrew it. And you see the key is loose at the moment. So by gently with a tweezer, lift it out. This is how it looks. Now, take care of not drop the lens, so have a good grip here, because the zoom ring is actually loose when you move it counterclockwise as much as it can, and then it's possible to lift it out. It was therefore we should take out the zoom brush, and it was also the one of the things I did in the first video, because I have just, without thinking about it, because I was busy, it sits like this, and I just loosened all the screws on the back, and I forgot to simply take care of the flex cable, and simply took off the whole thing, the zoom tube, and therefore this flex cable was, it could have been a main error. It could maybe have been a broken flex, but luckily it didn't happen. So therefore I will make this update. Now the next thing is, before we loosen the 4 screws up here, is to take out the flex here, and then we need a tool. This is a tweezer, I mean, for those who are collecting stamps and so, and I have sprayed some plastic rubber, and it will make it quite sticky. So therefore it's actually easy to lift under here the flex and gently pull it out, as you can see there. So that's very important. So now we are on the right track and can take out the 4 screws around here. And also I set a mark here because it will make it easier to, if you get confused of how it was put together. In this case you will be very sure how things should be set correct. So the 4 screws come out, and still have a good finger in the very end of the, on the very front of the lens, so you do not drop anything into the lens. So it's very easy with the magnetized screwdriver. So and there are some areas where you do not use the magnetized screwdriver in this lens, which I will show you. Things to be aware of. So now be sure you have a good grip, so not dropping the lens. Maybe there will be some fingerprints on the front, but it doesn't really matter. I can clean it after that. Now the zoom tube will come off very easy and without any problems. So and you will also have a good grip here, and holding the focusing ring in place, and gently lift off the zoom tube, and there shouldn't be any problem with that. It doesn't matter how the switch is setting. It could be M or M/A, no problem. But gently take out the zoom tube. This is how it looks inside. As you can see, there's not really any problem with that. Now Now it's getting more serious, so this is how it looks inside. This is the actual focusing mechanic, and since there has been other person in this lens, it looks quite dirty. So before I assemble it again, I will clean it with some Eclipse lens cleaner or the isopropyl alcohol 99%. But it's not the case in this situation. I would like to go up to the very front and tighten the 3 screws that hold the very front lens group in place. So now it's actually easy to take out the focusing ring itself, and there shouldn't be any problem, but gently take it off, because there are a GMR, which is the what you say, the sensor for the distance, I mean the focusing, which is the magnetic strip around here, as you probably can see here. There it is on this ring. So take really good care when using screwdrivers too close to this area here, especially with a magnetized screwdriver, because you can damage the information in this tape. And it works the way that it should be the tape from a tape recorder. It has information about how the autofocus should work. And this is actually the head, I mean it could be the head in a tape recorder, which recording on the tape, or actually when you're playing. I mean, it's old-fashioned. But this is very stable. And of course take care of the flex cables around here. So gently off with the focus ring, not touch anything. And here it looks like, and I forgot the spacer here, was on the side that is facing the camera, I mean towards the camera. So this is how it looks, and take that away. Now to get into the very front screws, the 3 front screws, you can pull the front section here, and if it's too hard, you could actually up here move it, this gap here, you can push on it, and it will actually push on the front of this part here, and then you can pull it, I mean hopefully. We need to actually do it a bit more. So take it all the way over to this side here, and probably see, it will simply extend the front here. So now it should go all the way over here. So now it can be, it will be very easy to go into the 3 screws here under here by loosening, unscrew those, one here, there and there, and simply twist this hood. I just set a small mark here so I know where things has to sit when I assembled it again. So and then the last screw. The index mark is here, so if you want to use that, you can use that, of course. It was actually works best for some. Now, then it should be possible to twist it a little. And where is the distant mark here? And then turn it. No, it should be the other way, of course. Now remember, so if I twist the main lens and holding the hood here, then I set a mark over here when it comes off. But if I begin with the index mark, so I put it over there, and it's actually loose, but it will first come loose there. So I have two marks in line, and then I can pull it to the very front. But it's not everything. I need to actually take it off. So by pull the lens to the rear, I can actually take this ring off. We do it again so you can see what's actually going on. It can be a little stiff to take apart, so but by wiggle a little with it, it should be easy to actually get on again. So there it is, and then pull it off, take care of the GMR and flex cables, and then it's off. Therefore it's good to set a mark where the tube or the hood actually come off. Now this is here where the one of the common things with this lens is actually a problem, and it's quite easy to fix when you have the tools. Now the 3 screws, which is one here, there, and the last one is over here. So by simply lift off the tape gently and do so, one is have full access to the screw head. And then I need a screwdriver which have a wider tip. So, and then it will be something like that. So, and one can simply unscrew it. And there are a plastic roll in here, which I will show you. This is there, and by taking it out, of course I will put it back in again, but I need to prevent it from coming loose again. So therefore I use a small drop of Loctite 243, which is the blue one, as called a normal. And I will simply drop it on some paper. If I can find something, this could be good. Yeah, there's something over here. Just a piece of paper here, and so and it will say Loctite 243. I know I am out of the frame, but I will just put it in frame again. And I just need a small drops. Oh, I will use it for some of the other screws, which will be good to have tightened. So, and the zoom comes a bit the different way, but simply pull in one end by holding up here and then push here. So now it's actually I have full access to the hole, as you can see in here. And I will just add a very little, not necessary, I mean tons of it, but it should be on the thread, not everything else. I mean anything everywhere, of course. Then just add a little. Of course one could also do it directly on the thread, but there shouldn't be any on the end of the screw. So by putting it in again, it's the only thing we need to do here. So, and it could be a little tricky. So it's because the actual tube is going in across. Just to show you here what's actually happened. So see, it doesn't go straight up and down. So by moving the tube here, it will go like, oh come on. It should go all the way over to the very right here. So, and then there you have free access to the hole again. So by putting in the screw here and so it is not yet. weird. So oh, come on, little fellow. So it goes into the thread. There it is. And then tighten it good, not too much, but so that's it. Then cover the hole again with the tape, and actually do the next one. It could be loose or one of, maybe only two of them are loose, but it's better to tighten, I mean check all three of them, just to be sure. So this is more loose. I mean, not that loose, but still. It's good to give it a tiny drop of thread lock. And it should only be a small drop, because it only need the thread lock on the thread, not everywhere. And then screw it in again. Cover the hole and the last one. And then we are almost on the way back to the in reverse order. And then you have a lens that is almost working as it was new, but you have fixed it yourself. And that's a good thing, and save a lot of money. There it is, and just wipe some of it away and then put it back in again. So, and here we are again. So that was actually that, and now we're going all the way back. Remember the mark you set here, and it should be in line with this mark here. Then gently put it on, and maybe the tape here around can be sometimes a bit annoying, because it's not that sticky again anymore, but well, to me it doesn't really matter, because the lens is actually working pretty good. Where did the mark go? Should be somewhere. There it is, and it should be possible to put on. Can be a little tricky. Maybe it needs some new tape, could be. But let's see how it will go. Okay, I was too far away from the mark. Sits there. So, and should be quite easy to put on. course it needs to be extended. That was weird. So it's almost there, and I just need to extend the lens a little. So, and here we are. And then it should be easy to put the hood on again and find the screw holes there, and everything will be fine again. Just need another bit. So it is, and I need 3 screws around here, which I also can add some thread lock. I mean, normally I would use the pink, I mean not the purple thread locker, which is the softest. It's called the Loctite 222, but I didn't have any more, so I just use the blue one. I just use less amount of it, and it will also work pretty good. So it's plastic, so do not tighten it too much. So it is, and on with this screw, and then we are all the way back. I could, when I'm in here right now, I could also clean the surface here around with some clips. This is this one. I know it's for cleaning lenses, and so you could also use the isopropyl alcohol 99%, which is also very good to cleaning stuff, but the clips is also working good. And just add a little on a Q-tip, and cleaning this area here. And oh yeah, it looks much better. There are some fingerprints on it. So it looks nice and fine, and I could just move the USM a bit. Don't touch the distance scale, and then clean the rest of it here, and wipe something away. Good. So now it's actually good. That's it. So now I can just put everything back into the lens body. It will say the the focusing ring, but in this case it's a bit tight, so I would like to to add a just a little amount of grease, which will be the grade 10 helicoid grease. In this case it will be the grade 10 here, which I buy at japanhobbytool.com, and you can see it's grade 10, and it is very soft and very good helicoid grease. It looks like butter, white butter, but I'll just add a little, and I will say here on the one side of the ring, the focusing ring, the thin spacer will also move the grease around, so you do not need to use that much. Less will be a lot. And also on the other side, especially here on the edge, and I'll just put on one side, and the movement will do the rest. So it is. It's not necessary to put it on here, because the spring, the leaf spring, there has to be some kind of what do you say, some kind of friction. Now put the focus ring on, take care of the flex and all that stuff, and put it over the 3 leaf springs. I could just wipe away some stuff here. So, and on with that. Yeah, it looks like it will do the job. Now put on the this ring, and so, like there. And it will stay good. On the zoom ring, no, on the tube here, I will also add some grease here, especially on this edge. I think it will work pretty good. Not that much, because I do not need it. I don't know where all those small hair comes from. Not from my head. So it is. It will be enough. Now put the zoom tube with the nameplate and all that stuff on, and just to be sure how it was sitting, I have my mark here, there, and I also set the mark here. So it should be quite easy. And you can also see where the zoom brush flex cable has to sit. It will go in here. So it can only sit one way. So there it is, and put it gently on. Do you mind, little fellow? So there, should be there. And then put it on, and it should be sitting quite good. So that's it. And we can put on the 4 screws, and also add a tiny drop. So take care when you take on the lens and hold in the front tube here, not on the focusing ring, because this whole section around here is not screwed into anything. So it's only when you have now it's safe actually. Wow, it works pretty good. Now it's safe and to have the grip on the focusing ring, and also prevent the lens from falling down. Have your pinky finger on the rear front. Now add a little thread locker on it, the screw, and then from now on it's just straightforward. Work with it. The last screw for the zoom tube. So now this sits correct, and again I will just clean the zoom brush. I mean, not the brush, but the circuit board, and then just add a little amount of eclipse, and do the some cleaning here. If there's any fingerprint, it could be the way that it will not work correct. So now it's that. Okay, yeah, this is the last part of the video, where I put the zoom ring on, and I put the bag on, and the mount and rubbering, and put it on my camera, and I figure out, gosh, I forgot something, and it was the flex cable, which sits here. This one, I simply forgot to put it on, because yeah, no matter what, it of course needs to be put on here to simply get the lens to work, because if it's not on, the zoom function, I mean the focus function, will not work proper. So that was good to know. But I simply forgot to put it into the connector here. So, well. So now the lenses actually works pretty good when I put this on, all the other parts. And this the zoom ring here, remember this, has to sit there, and the again, it needs to be set all the way to white end. So this gap here has to be at the very end, all the way over here. And you can just pull in the front part to put it all the way over there, as you can see there. So it has to stay there. So now I can put the zoom ring on again and mind the gap here where it has to go onto. So now it sits correct and cannot fall out. So it's time to put the key, the coupling key between the focus ring, zoom ring, and the inner zoom parts. So maybe you have to move it a little back and forth. The key here back and forth to have it connected there, and then move the zoom ring a little to get it into place. So there, and the last screw goes in here. Then tighten it gently. I already add a tiny drop of thread lock, so it's not necessary to do it again. Off with the lid for the zoom ring and brush, and it will work correct when this brush is in. So there. Oh. So little fellow, do you mind? Then I will just put it in here. And you remember I set a mark here in the very beginning, and this is just because it will make it a lot easier to align the zoom ring with the brush here, and it has to sit correct. If not, well, the zoom will not work proper, as you can see. So there, and the screw goes in here. Try put it on so it's there, and then just to align the brush, and then it should be fine. So now it sits correct. So if I zoom out to something, one end, then I just need to tighten this screw just a little and gently. So close this lid, and so you can see it works pretty good as it should. Now off for the very the end ring here, and you also remember probably I set a mark here and a mark here, so I know exactly where it should sit when it's assembly correct. So just put it there, and put on the screws in where they have to sit. Oh, have to align it correct. So it's there, and I will just add on the screws. So I will of course edit in the video so the correct part come in, so you not see the wrong, which you cannot use to anything. But I mean, it's the best to do. There's no need to see something that you cannot use. Tighten all the screws here, and then we are almost back on correct track. Now, the adjustment washers, in this case there are 4, maybe there are 5 or 3 or so in your lens, but in this case there's only 4 of different thickness. So align with the guide pin here in the tiny hole there, and the last one is a bit annoying to put in for me, but it will go. Now put in the aperture pin here, which has to be connected to the pin down here, and try to the pin down here, and try not to bend it, because it's very, tiny material, thin material. So the pin has to be catch down here with the aperture connection, and then it's just need to be put on the mount. Then you probably have to move the mount itself to be aligned correct, especially with those thin washers. So find the holes around here, and let's see, it will go there. It is. Take care of the rubber sealing around the mount so you not damage it too much. It has to sit proper around. And then it's time to put in the screws that hold the mount itself. And the screws in my lens is not the the correct types, but it works pretty good. So, and next, this is a smaller one here. They are all the same in your lens, so and on with the last screw, go a little backward to catch the thread. So it is. And then take good care of when putting on the connection board here, not bend it, and do not draw pull too much in it. And then we just need to put in the 2 screws that hold it in place, and then the back lens, which will be the 5th lens group, and the rubbering, and that's it. So there, on with that lens. and so it's there. Gently put it on. It's plastic, so it should be a big problem, but I just wonder why it should be plastic and not metal. But there maybe is a reason for that. If the screws are too thin in those holes, you can use 1.7 millimeter instead of the usually normal 1.4 millimeter screws. Just to mention that. And the last one, then the zoom rubber grip, and that's it. Remember the slope on one of the end of the rubber grip for the zoom. It has to face towards the camera. This rubber is a bit worn out. It begins to be a bit sticky, so and now everything should be okay. So I will just put it on my Nikon D3S and see how it will works. So let's see how it will zoom. I mean, straight on, and if I just move it to something 70, and yeah, so and they're actually focusing pretty good. So that was actually all for now in this very used lens, one of the most popular Nikon lenses I guess. So hope you can use the information in this video, and that's it for now. Bye bye.